See it played, Death Ride, Hafid Ridge, actions. Top of the sequence of play, air allocation phase. The British rolled a 9, no air, and the Germans rolled an 8, no air. So German operations phase. The general scheme of maneuver is that the Germans are going to reorient and basically counterattack against the lead of the British flank attack here, based on the idea that the British maybe are not hitting consolidated enough. In other words, they're coming in a stream, and unless they mass better, the Germans might simply be able to pick off each piece of the flank maneuver as it comes close to the German defensive position here. So that's the idea, and we'll see. Might even go ahead and use the reserve here, because the British aren't that close. No, British aren't that close to even getting a close combat with a decent amount of strength. So there's going to be some movement over here and some firing, trying to blunt the drive here. Okay, I thought I should talk about this since this is going to be something relatively new. We have this tank platoon here in reserve. I believe that they can simply come out of reserve, and now I believe that they can go into Overwatch. They can move up to 1/4 of their movement allowance, but they're not going to move at all because they're on a hill there and they're dug in. So I think that they can go into Overwatch. In Overwatch, I believe that right now when they go into Overwatch, they can, this turn, fire at British units using opportunity fire. So the idea here is, and I'm going to do this, I don't know that there are any limitations to what I'm doing. So now this platoon is in Overwatch. You know, I wonder if going into Overwatch itself, I wonder if coming out of reserve, I doubt this, but I wonder if coming out of reserve doesn't draw opportunity fire, but I'll assume not. And then does going into Overwatch draw opportunity fire? I don't believe so. I'll go with neither of those actions use movement points. So any activity that uses movement points can draw opportunity fire. Those did not use movement points. Okay. So now I'm thinking, so what I'm going to do is, now I want to try to move this tank platoon up to half of its movement allowance and then fire after movement. So because I want to fire, in my mind I'm going to limit the tank platoon here, Panzer platoon, to 9 movement points. So I think it's 2. And let me see if coming downhill costs movement points. It shouldn't, especially for tank units. Okay, looks like there are slope down costs. Okay, so first of all, slope up and slope down. I'm just assuming that going into a hill is slope up and going from a hill down to clear desert is slope down. I don't think I've actually seen that spelled out. And there are no other well, you see that you don't even get a picture for what slope up and slope down looks like. So I'm assuming that slope up and slope down are related to the hills. Okay. So coming down for track is +2. So, so actually that is 4. 2 for the clear desert and another 2 for coming down. So 4, 6, 8. So as it rounds this hill, this is what I'm assuming. I'm assuming now that the British are gonna opportunity fire 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is extent of their primary or long range. And now the German unit in Overwatch fires first. So I think it's German Panzer platoon in Overwatch fires, British tanks fire at the moving unit. Okay, so the Overwatch fire, very low roll, I think it was a roll of 1 actually, resulted in nothing. Then the British opportunity fire rolled low as well, and that was +1 for firing to a lower elevation, but -3 for opportunity fire. Nothing, no result. And then the German Panzer fired after movement. They stopped there, fired with the -2 for firing after moving penalty, and rolled a 6. So -2 for firing after moving is 4, minus another 1 for firing to higher elevation. So resulted in nothing. So a bunch of firing, but no results. Now, the British platoon, I would mark them as having used opportunity fire against this stack. But now the panzers are done, so I mark them as having moved. So then that temporary marker can come off because those British tanks can conduct opportunity fire against other moving units, units. And here, units in Overwatch can conduct as much Overwatch fire as possible in response to enemy opportunity fire. So I don't see a reason to mark them as done, because they're not really done. Okay, so now we're going to continue on. That was Overwatch fire and using some firing after movement. Okay, so again, not thinking through, really not thinking through what I'm doing. I probably should have started with the closest platoon trying to suppress the British tanks first. Anyways, they did fire. They rolled a 5, -1 for firing up in elevation for 4. 1/2 of the secondary firepower plus 1.5 times the primary weapon fire divided by the British defensive value of 7 is 1.21, which is on the 1 column. So a modified die roll of 4 on the 1 column is no effect. So, but just pointing out that, again, so much seems to, well, at this point in my learning of the game system, the heart of it seems to be figuring out the best order to conduct your unit actions. The Germans went ahead and fired with this Panzer platoon across to the British unit there. It's actually the same attack as this platoon, except that this platoon is already at a higher elevation, and so there is no -1 for firing up in elevation, and they had a very lucky roll of 9, which resulted in suppression level 2 British tanks like that. Now, after firing like that, full strength, I considered moving the Panzer platoon adjacent. Four, or was it five? Four, 6, 8. Oh, they only could have gotten there anyways. Okay, but in any case, two things. One, I wasn't interested in giving up that fortification there. And the moment that the Panzers came off the hills here, they would have been subject to opportunity fire. But of course, the Overwatch tanks could have responded as well with their range of 6. But anyways, I thought I would stay in the fortification. And then finally, with this platoon, I don't want to move out of that fortification either. So I thought I would put that platoon in Overwatch. And now the Germans are done. And I'll go right into the British player turn. Actually, unit suppression, for the German player turn, the British red 2, suppression level 2 would be flipped to the green side, because both players flip red suppression to green sides. As I was thinking about what to do with the British units here, I wondered, okay, when do the Overwatch markers come off? The Overwatch markers actually come off during the German unit suppression recovery phase. So bottom line is they're not on when we go into the British player turn. So that's that. The British in this game, by the way, do not get Overwatch fire. Only the Germans. So the general scheme of maneuver for the British, and again as in I hope we're going to get a lot of firing here, which I won't be recording. Okay, so the general scheme of maneuver is to mix firing and hopefully suppressing German platoons and basically edging platoons forward as each German platoon is hopefully suppressed, and go from there. So I'm curious to see how much firing can get generated and how much movement the British can get. I just noticed something to note. First of all of these British tank platoons fired together, got some crossfire, and rolled very well, and so suppressed the German Panzer platoon there to level 2. However, I'm just assuming that all these tank platoons in separate hexes, one, I'm assuming that they can combine their fire. Otherwise, why would you even have bonuses for firing from more than one hex phase? And then I'm assuming that after they fire, that they can still move half of their movement allowance at some other time in the turn. What's throwing me off, which is not good at all, is that I'm putting my markers on the units after they fire, when really they should have a marker that designates only that they've fired and not that they've moved yet. So in any case, we got the suppression. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we still have to try to suppress this next platoon. Even if we don't suppress it, we're still going to move forward and take some opportunity fire. But that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But that is important, because now I'm going to do another attack and I'm going to mark some more units, including the artillery in the rear. And then I'm going to come back and do movement, because I don't see it crystal clear that I can't do that. I wonder if this is clearer in the full master rules for Death Ride Kursk. Well, I'm going to play it this way for now anyways. So I'm going to do a whole nother fire attack and try to suppress this unit. Then I'm going to come back and have these units again move forward one way or another, even if they take opportunity fire. So there's something else to be said here for the amount of activity that can take place. So all of these units that have fired now, the British rolled a 2 against this unit, and weren't even close to getting a suppression against that platoon there. So now all these units that have fired can move up to half their movement allowance. Plus, these platoons back here, for example, and a few more here, they can move and fire afterwards as well. And so the only thing hard and fast on the German side is that the suppressed platoon cannot conduct opportunity fire. These 4 platoons can, but of course they can only do 1 opportunity fire attack each against each moving unit or stack. I can't remember. They're all separate here on the front line anyways. So there's some more commentary. I don't know what else to say. So just start with the first British platoon here, and they move forward 1 hex for 2. If the Germans wanted to conduct opportunity fire with this unit, that would be this unit's 1 opportunity fire attack against that British platoon during this movement. Yes, I know that. Now, if I wanted to conduct opportunity fire with this platoon and this platoon, I know that they cannot combine their opportunity fires. But I'm assuming that the British platoon moves 1 hex, and that I can do 1 opportunity fire attack, resolve, and then do this opportunity fire attack and resolve. They didn't combine. They each did 1 opportunity fire attack against that British tank platoon this turn, and so on and so forth. Now, what's interesting here is when do the Germans conduct their fire? In other words, the British tank platoon moved there. Let's say the Germans hold their fire because they want to wait until they can bring, let's just say they want to wait until they bring in their secondary weapons. Ooh, and the tanks are, and now the wire is a factor. Okay, let's just do this. Let's say, and what is the deal? The British move. The Germans have to decide whether they're going to do opportunity fire, or actually, I see, it doesn't even really matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter. What I'm thinking here is the British player is the British side, I am the British player and the German player, the British side is going to stop that tank platoon there. Let's just practice this. I think now the Germans can attack it. Because it's not like the Germans have to decide whether they're going to opportunity fire first, because The rules just say that the German side can have the opportunity firing side can have the other side halt its movement. Yeah. Anyways, I don't think it matters because they're only going to get one attack. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter because when this unit starts moving, all these opportunity fires are reset anyways. Okay. All right, so... Oh my. So does that mean... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So does that mean that first British platoon moves 1 hex and has an opportunity fire 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 separate attacks now. Then when the next platoon moves 1 hex, the same. I think it does. The only difference, all right, this is going to turn into a lot of firing, and we're only playing with 5 German units here. Huh. I'm going to double check, but I think when the tanks hit the wire, they're going to have to stop anyways. Okay, just some general commentary since I've started here. Despite what I said, there's a lot of die rolling. Actually, even this amount of die rolling might be nothing compared to a full Death Ride game, but there's a lot of die rolling. But now I realize these are really, because of the, no, that's not it either. Basically, these are 0.5 shots, and some of these can't even get a result. Others of them will only get a result on a 10. There have been no hits, bunch of firing and no hits. So actually, just to put this in perspective, these are long-range pot shots, actually. So the Germans should wait until the British get closer. Yeah, okay. Because, for example, they all 4 of these platoons just shot at the British tank platoon here, which, by the way, I just used the, I don't even know what to call it. I thought he was done. Of course he's not done. They've all fired at him. Now he can just go all he wants because there isn't going to be any more opposition, right? So you go 2. Well, he has half because he already fired. So he has 11. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Right onto the wire. And he's adjacent to the enemy. And why not? Yeah, so looking at it that way, the Germans should have waited for a better shot, I think. Well, I'll try it that way anyways. Try different combinations here. Oh yeah, this is a lot of thinking off the top of my head, but yeah. There's a bit of frustration here, but it's a frustration born out of something very good. Namely that the game system allows so many different player options to consider. But the bottom line now is I've been playing these British here to an absurd level, playing them way too cautiously to an absurd level. There's got to be a lot of charging, a lot of firing, a lot of suppression, a lot of recovery, and charging more. Yeah, so this was a timid tiptoe up to this point. Okay, so this is a good example. So platoon in good order, on wire, platoon in good order on wire, suppressed platoon on mine, in a minefield there, more suppressed platoons. So this is, I guess, what those who play the system learn. There's a lot of suppression, and in some cases you might as well just keep pushing forward until stopped by suppression or something else. We'll see. So that's what I did, and this is the result. Basically stopped by suppression or wire. And I made a decision, even though I've got 3 more platoons here, not counting the headquarters, I thought I would keep these as a reserve or a second echelon, and go forward from there. I feel like I am not exercising all of the rules in all the different possible combinations, which means missing layers of detail and maybe some nuances to different core mechanics. Okay, enough of that for now. So we're going to go to unit suppression recovery. The British can recover 2 levels here, and actually they can recover 2 levels here as well. And then both sides, including the Germans here, are going to flip their red suppression to green. And then what more to say? I think I've probably missed so much. Again, this is one of those games, great by the way, where you may be playing the rules correctly, but you're not, you're not catching on to the possibilities. I am going to continue the attack a bit more here, but I definitely want to, after I get some more attack experience here and see what happens with, see what happens pushing the British more aggressively, then I feel like resetting to another situation, another action. What to say? A stunning game design. An excellent game system in multiple ways. But there's so much more to explore, and I can only assume that the play experience is going to get better and better.